Well, hello there, and welcome to the video. I just got done watching Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 3. Oh, okay. First of all, I'm not going to do a breakdown. I am going to go into some details, so there are spoilers ahead in this video. So be warned, I will be spoiling certain parts of this episode. Now, I did enjoy the episode, but I did there were a few moments where I was sort of sighing out loud, and I could hear myself sigh. I was wearing headphones when I was watching it, so I could hear myself sigh. Overall, the episode was okay. You're just seeing some of these things creeping in, and although it's Metallis Trek, it still has the certain veneer from New Trek. One of the things that happens very early on in the episode is there's an ensign that's injured and Jack Crusher's in sickbay, and we basically get from that officer him saying to Jack Crusher, wah, this is all your fault. It's your fault. You are the reason this is happening. Which I found a little bit petty to be written into Star Trek. Now, again, Star Trek has had this in the past, you're the problem here. It was done in a very Star Trek way. This is not. It's got elements of childish Discovery writing. I wasn't best pleased about that. There was one scene where the Titan has taken damage to the rear of the ship, to the aft of the ship, and the captain's informed that the sensors have gone down, the after sensors, and he says, look, I don't care if you have to go and look out a window. Go and look out a window. And which at the time I thought was a really funny sort of joke. Turns out he wasn't joking. He sends officers to go and look out of an aft window to see if they can see the ship. And they are looking out the window to see if they can see the ship in the nebula. Very sort of Wrath of Khan, but much less sophisticated writing in that sense. Like I said, I thought that they were joking, but they really weren't joking. They actually did that. That happened in the episode. It was a thing. Picard and Beverly have the talk about why Picard wasn't involved in Jack's life, and it's mainly because Jean-Luc Picard has pretty much a target on his back because he's so high profile. Everybody in the galaxy who isn't Starfleet wants to kill him. So Beverly decided not to for him not to be a part of Jack's life. Now I sort of get why that decision was made, and Patrick Stewart does a pretty good job with that scene, to be fair. But there's just a slight hint of the Picard apology tour, I'm very, very sorry about everything, except I'm very, very angry about not being involved in my son's life. How very dare you? There was just a few moments where I thought, this isn't good writing. There's a couple of inconsistencies which really take you out of what's happening. First there's no aft visual, then there's aft visual, but there's no reference to it being repaired or fixed. It's simply like they just forgot. We get to see Raffi interact with Worf. Now Worf, there's elements of the Worf character in this episode, but again, it feels like there's something missing. He does have a kind of like a Daenerys Stormborn sort of intro, except he's saying it himself. He's Worf, son of Moog, House of Martok, Slayer of Gowron, and all of this stuff. And he does end it with, would you like some chamomile tea? Which I found quite amusing, but again, it kind of made a light-hearted joke. It just felt a little bit out of place. Some of that cheesy Marvel writing is making its way into Star Trek, and there's a couple of obviously other references to the way Marvel do things, which I don't particularly like. The Titan is being chased through the nebula, and as it turns out, the sheath, the shake, the ship, the Vatic ship has a portal weapon. Portal weapon, kind of like the game Portal. It's a portal weapon. So they fire this weapon, and a portal appears and the Titan goes through it and comes out from another direction, and they keep pulling them deeper and deeper into the nebula. And at that point, I was thinking, they're just taking ideas from everywhere and throwing it together in a mishmash. Now, it might work out, which is great if it is a good story, and as other YouTubers have sort of said, it's a good story. It's good. It's not perfect, but it is good. It kind of felt a bit daft. It is revealed in this episode, and this is a big spoiler, okay? It is revealed that we have the return of the changelings, of the of Odo's people. Odo is referenced in the episode, however, he's not referenced by name. He is referred to as an honourable one, which was nice, but I think that the changeling story has been relatively well played out throughout Deep Space Nine, and I get the feeling they're going to push the show towards a lot of Deep Space Nine and some cameos. I think I've read something online that says that's what they're doing. I feel like the changeling thing has been played out, and it was a good overall sort of ending. I liked the ending of Deep Space Nine. I didn't like the last episode too much. It was quite cheesy in places, but I did enjoy the finale of Deep Space Nine. However, you know, they're retreading old ground, and it seems to me that this is what this show is doing, and it's, like I said, it's mishmashing a whole different bunch of ideas together to create something unique but quite derivative at the same time. This is why I said I'm 50-50 on this episode. It was entertaining to a point. By the end, I felt that it seemed really farcical. Another one of my gripes is the scene at the end, because Picard is trying to convince Riker to attack, you know, to go on the offense, stop running and fight. You know, it's the only way to survive and all of that. So he's pushing his point, and in a moment of crisis, Picard says, "Will, we've got to fight." And Will goes, "You know what? Yeah, fine, we'll fight. We'll fight." And without thought, he says, "Fire everything we've got," knowing that this ship, this freaking sheath or whatever it is, has got a portal weapon that can fire any time it wants. So you fire at this ship, they can open up a portal, turn the weapons on you, and suddenly, boom, the inevitable happens. The Titan gets hit and it starts drifting deeper into the nebula, into a gravity well. It turns out this nebula is got organic life in it, which just to me references the Voyager episode where there's coffee in that nebula. You know, that one. I forget what it's called now. The name escapes me. But the Titan's been hit and it's drifting in. Riker says to Picard, and I couldn't believe that this was happening. Riker says to Picard, "You may excuse yourself from the bridge. You've just killed us all." And Picard goes, oh bother, oh dear, I'd better go," and scuttles off of the bridge. Riker relieves Picard of his post. Okay, he's an ex-admiral. He's got no real rank, but maybe will be given some context in the next episode. But that didn't sit well with me, because although these characters are 20 years older and relationships have changed and everything like that, our relationship to Star Trek is still where we left off. And I suppose that's one of the problems that Picard as a series was facing. It's that, how do you tell a story 20 years later when characters are changed? Now, I know that in previous videos, and certainly my Picard Season 2 reviews and my Picard Season 1 review, that 7 of 9 is a very different character than the one that, you know, we last saw in Voyager. She's much more human, she's got attitude, she's kick-ass, whatever. Yes, she would have changed. You have to be so careful when writing a show that's set 20 years after a beloved franchise ended, because we're not ready for that. You have to be intelligent enough to explain why that character is like that. And Biggie and a fucking Fenris Ranger is not good enough. It's not. I felt that it was never good enough for what they for the changes that happened to Seven of Nine. The tone in the episode is really dark still. I was all right with it. I was willing to forgive it in the first 2 episodes, but it is so damn dark. Lighten the setup, lighten everything up so we can actually see what's going on. Like I said, I'm 50-50 on this episode, but I kind of half liked it and half loathed it. There was just some really stupid elements. Shaw gets injured. He basically gets injured and puts Riker in command, and he's in sick bay. And Jack Crusher, he's basically saying that, you know, I'm sorry for everything that's happening. This is all my fault, like that goddamn officer told me a few moments ago. Now, Crusher is in sickbay, as you'd expect her to be, but she's being shunned by the chief medical officer, or I assume is the chief medical officer, basically saying you're 20 years out of date with medicine. I'm thinking, well, not really, because she is on the frontier and she's practicing frontier medicine. She diagnoses Shaw. Shaw leaves a trail of blood as he's sort of carried into sickbay, and Jack Crusher figures out that, we must be leaving breadcrumbs. He releases Seven of Nine from a confinement with a good hearty punch. Lo and behold, they figure out that there is a saboteur on board, which just happens to be a changeling. And the saboteur is in a gas-filled room, and Jack and Seven are wearing these masks. And the first thing that crossed my mind when I saw them in the mask was...
You were merely adopted the darkness. I was born in the darkness. Stupid Batman.
Now, Raffi and Worf also capture a changeling. They've changed the visual design of the changelings a little bit. I'm rambling in this video, I do apologise, but one of the things that really was sort of unsettling to me was, again, New Trek's delve into things like torture and stuff like that. The Next Generation was quite tame with it, although the Chain of Command was quite a harsh episode back in the day. It might appear to be tame now, but it was done with style. You know, the torture was stylish. It didn't need to be gory, it didn't need to be messy. It was psychological, and it was barely physical. This is a much more sort of 24 style of torture, I suppose. And it didn't sit well with me. Some of the dialogue that Worf comes out with, it's almost too quippy, and he's not as stern as he used to be. He's found a balance in life, but in some ways that's made him trying to go for more mysterious, but in some ways it's just made him essentially a Marvel character. So the episode begins and ends in the nebula still, and they're being chased. It's like a game of cat and mouse. It's not as sophisticated as Wrath of Khan. It does share some similarities, but the show, I'm beginning to have just a sliver of doubt about where about the structure of the show. Now, compared to Picard season 1 and season 2, this is highly entertaining, and I'd recommend, if you're looking for a good sci-fi romp, that you watch this series. However, if you're looking for Star Trek, said in my previous videos, it's not The Next Generation, but it's not New Trek. It is somewhere in the middle, and that is really starting to show. Now, there's probably a bunch of points that I've missed, or a bunch of Easter eggs that I've missed, because they're heavy on the member berries with this episode, but I'm still going to keep watching it. I'm hoping that episode 4 is going to be a little bit better, but there is a part of me that is thinking, this is designed to draw me in. This is designed to, to make the wider, with the wider conspiracy about the changelings and everything. It's all designed to sort of stimulate that little bit of nostalgia that we all have with Star Trek. And I don't feel that retreading Dominion story, the changeling story, I don't feel that is necessarily in itself the right way to go. However, it may be built upon. There may be more layers to it. I don't know. I've not had the privilege, if you can call it a privilege, of watching all 10 episodes. I've only seen 3. I'm just like you guys. I'm watching it every week. Would I like to see it? Would I like to see the rest of the series? Absolutely. This sort of leads me to one final point. This is a longer video than I wanted to make, but one final point. The YouTubers that have watched this show, they've watched it in bulk, they've binged it, they've gone, oh, I couldn't put it down, it was one episode after the other, one episode after the other, it was great. However, I've found that it is better for you in some respects to watch an episode on a weekly basis. That way it's got time to sit with you, and it's got time for you to go, actually, having said that, that bit wasn't as good as I remember. Because I went back and watched episode 1 again of this season, and I did find myself going, this bit's a bit boring, this bit's a bit dull, this bit's not quite what I remember it being. Is it better to watch all the episodes together, or is it better to watch it week by week? So you remain in some ways more objective. You see less of the problems that come up. Anyway, I have rambled on. I do apologise for the incoherent rant, but that's what I thought of the episode. That's my thoughts, my opinions. Please feel free to share your comments down in the comments section. Please subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and also if you like this video, give it a like, because that would really help me out. The channel is growing. I've got some plans for the channel. I know things have been absolutely chaotic lately. I'm trying to make the channel a little bit more stable, so I'll be doing more regular updates. I will also, on the 24th of March, for my subscribers who are Resident Evil fans, I will be doing my very first Danger Man Plays Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm really looking forward to that. I will be streaming it live on this channel, and I also have plans to do a general discussion stream with one of my subscribers. Who knows where it will go after that. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Until the next video, you look after yourselves. You look after one another. Please look after one another. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.
I need the silence, stop the violence of the war in my head. Time's the healer, the eraser of all done and said. And as I fall back to my shelter, I know